Well, the presidential candidate of the Young Progressive Party, the YPP, Kingsley Moghalu, is joining me now on the news to take a look at Nigeria at 58. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Welcome to TVC
Thank you.
News.
Thank you, Fred.
Well, Nigeria at 58, 2 years ahead of the country turning 60.
Absolutely.
Where do you see us as a people and as a nation?
Well, Nigeria is a nation still waiting to be born. That's the reality. That's the truth. We became independent 58 years ago after a hard fight by our founding fathers to wrest our freedom from the colonial powers. But today, we're under a very different kind of colonialism. We're under a very different kind of bondage and slavery from incompetent politicians who have failed to deliver the expectations of nearly 60 years of independence. And instead, Nigeria is going backward in time. So I think Nigeria is not in a good place. Let's just be truthful to ourselves. And it will not, the situation will not change except the people of Nigeria themselves, all of us as citizens, rise up and take control of our destiny. We must throw away the yoke of slavery of our incompetent politicians in the APC and the PDP. Neither of these two parties can take Nigeria to prosperity. We can read speeches every October 1. It's a hollow ritual. The truth is there. We are now the poverty capital of the world. We have the highest numbers of people at 87 million people who are living in extreme poverty, more than India, which has a population 7 times the size of Nigeria. That is the biggest indictment of the situation in Nigeria today and those who are responsible, our recycled old politicians. We must have a generational shift to a visionary leadership if Nigeria is to prosper. And there's nobody else who can deliver it except the people of Nigeria themselves.
Well, you are speaking as an opposition candidate, no doubt.
But I'm speaking facts.
If the way forward in Nigeria has to do with politics, now what you are advocating for now, and how do we move ahead in terms of politics and moving the country forward?
Yes. The way to do it is this. Each and every one of us Nigerians must tell ourselves that we have the power to decide what Nigeria will look like in the next few years. We should stop the thinking that tells us that it is already decided. Oh, there was an election in Ekiti. There was an election in Oshu. Our votes will not matter. It is not true. There are 84 million registered voters in Nigeria. If at a minimum 60 million of us come out and vote in 2019, nobody, no Jupiter can steal your vote. So it still comes down to us, the people of Nigeria. But for us to be able to do that, we must first of all believe that we have the power to change our destiny. That's what I'm calling on Nigerians to do. Don't allow these politicians to continue to intimidate you. Anybody who believes that the failure of the APC means that it is the PDP that we have to bring back to the presidency, that person doesn't understand or does not love himself or herself, in my own view.
Okay, let's talk a bit about Nigeria now and move away a bit from politics. Sure. The president in his Independence Day speech spoke glowingly about many sectors of the economy and how to improve them. He spoke especially about the economy of the country and growing non-oil revenue. What do you make of this?
Well, the approach to growing non-oil revenue, for me, it's not the right approach.
Why do you say so?
Yes, the way to grow a non-oil economy is what I propose as a presidential candidate, that when I become president of Nigeria in 2019, Nigeria's economy will be driven by innovation and technology. That is the way. It is not by moving away from oil and then you're going to exploit solid minerals, which you will now be exporting without processing them at home. It will yield the same result as our dependence on oil. So I don't think the approach is correct. We need to have an innovation-driven economy that is driven by scientific inventions and innovations. That is what drives the economies of all the Western world and the Asian countries that are prospering. So we don't even have the right way of thinking about this. We've heard about diversifying the economy for the past 40 years. It has not happened. The reason it hasn't happened is that the political class in Nigeria is focused on their vested interest. President Buhari is telling us about diversifying the economy. That's very well and good, Mr. President. But the fact is that Mr. President has refused to sign the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill, which removes control of the allocation of oil blocks from the Minister of Petroleum. He is the Minister of Petroleum. Why doesn't he want to relinquish control to a more transparent process? This is the point.
What does that achieve at the end of the day?
It achieves transparency, and it prevents corruption and cronyism, which is what is reigning today in Nigeria. Has always been the case, is still the case under the current government.
In what sectors of the economy do you think we require more improvement?
I think that first of all, the whole fiscal management of Nigeria is wrong. There is still a reliance fundamentally, almost exclusively, on crude oil for revenues. So that's bad. We need to move towards a more effective system of taxation across the board. That means that we now have to bring the informal economy into the taxation net. Many people who are not in the formal economy, the people selling things on the road, you know, the women selling gari by the, you know. So a lot of these people, they are not paying taxes. We don't have to pay very high taxes. I don't believe in increasing taxes, but I just think that more people need to pay their taxes. But the reason they don't pay their taxes is because they do not trust the politicians. The politicians will steal money that we pay in taxes. So that's why we must come back to the foundation, and that is changing the leadership of Nigeria towards a younger and visionary type of leadership that has the competence to manage Nigeria's economy.
What's the hope for the country, Nigeria? Many people have advocated separation and all of that. What do you think?
I believe that Nigeria has a future if we decide that we have a future. All hope is not lost. We must understand that. I have not given up on Nigeria, and I will not give up on Nigeria. I believe that Nigeria can be a great and prosperous nation, but until we get the kind of leadership that can make us so, we will only continue to hope, and hope is not a strategy.
Kingsley Moghalu, presidential candidate, Young Progressive Party, the YPP. Thank you for joining me, and all the best
Thank you.
in your endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you.